Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tangle Time Arts. My name is Nana Heron, and I am a certified Zentangle teacher. And this is our impromptu Advent Tangles series where I every day pick a tangle at random. And it's always a surprise because it, if you remember when you were a kid and you had those little advent calendars, it was always a surprise what was behind each number. So I don't do much planning for this series. I just kind of wake up and pick a tangle and go with it. And for today, I was inspired by a star, but I was also kind of looking for a snowflake. So this tangle could be either, depending on which colors you use. All right, so for this one, I have my regular black pen, but I also have a white chalk pencil and a tortillon just for the white chalk pencil. And today I'm going to use some metallics by Uniball Signo. And when I reached in my box for a tile, I pulled out a Renaissance tile, a tan one. But this works perfectly well with a white one, or if you choose to use black, this would probably look great as well. But you would want to switch out the pen for a white one, a white gel pen. All right. So no matter what color tile you are, we are going to work through a tangle called Cadooh by Ria Matheussen. She's a CZT as well. So thank you, Ria. And let's get started. All right, I'm going to put my metallic pens aside, and you don't need metallic pens for this. You could do this all with just shading and your black pen. But I do feel like either metallic pens or glitter pens um, are just going to add something a little fun. Or you could use colored pencils as well. I'll have to use colored pencils for one of these projects. So yeah, you could use whatever you have on hand. I just felt using these Uniball Signos today, so that's what we're going to go with. All right, so for Cadoo, I kind of have something in mind, and oh, this tile's a little scratched, but that's okay. We're going to kind of start in the center, center-ish. So I'm going to just make like a little, um, I just have the white chalk pencil, so I'm going to make a little mark there in roughly the center. If you don't need to make a mark, you don't have to. It's just kind of a little bit of a guideline for me. And with Kadoo, it usually starts with 6 little seed shapes, but I'm going to do a variation and go with 4 little seed shapes. So I am just going to go a little off from my center. I'm going to put in a seed shape or a rice shape, depending on how you think of it. So I've got up and down. I'm going to rotate and do the same thing. So that I have 4. It kind of reminds me of like the inside of an apple. And for this project, I'm gonna right away go ahead and for these 4, I'm gonna ink them in, and I'm gonna use red here. And this is just to keep track of my little seed shapes because we're gonna add some more. So yeah, the way this tangle was designed, it starts out with 6, but I'm using a variation with 4. That. Okay. And then I'm going to put in four more. So these are going to be a little bit above, if you think of this as kind of a circle here, these next little shapes are going to be a little bit above, but halfway between two. So, so I have four more seed shapes, and then I'm going to go ahead and right away ink those in as green. So I am using Christmas colors, but you can use whatever colors you would like. And that's so I can keep track of which level I'm working on a little bit easier. All right. So I'm gonna put the cap on that. So for Kadoo, we're gonna pick one of our original four seed shapes to start with. And the easiest way for me actually is to kind of curve along our original seed shape and go out and then curve back in. And I'm going to go back in like that, quite curly. And then maybe, I don't know if I want to call it halfway, but a little bit off from our original line here. I'm going to aura around that original line, but then come back in like that. And then I'm going to go over to the other side and not along the seed shape yet, but a little bit off from the seed shape. I'm going to aura that. And then when I come here to the line we made before, a little bit of the Halaba effect where I'm going to kind of hop on over and I'm going to continue and come inward. And then I'm going to kind of trace along this here and bring this in. And I'm going to do that same thing for all four of these red rice shape or seed shapes. So we kind of trace along here, come up and swirl back in. And then we're going to pick up at this point here and aura along that and come in to that swirl. And then on the other side, so that's about halfway between the two seed shapes here, we aura along this curve here, hop on over, swirl in, and then we trace over this seed shape kind of. I'm kind of air drawing over it, like trace over that, hop on over, and swirl back in. So yeah, definitely do the inside ones first. I love making that big swirl there. And coming back in. And then jumping over to the other side. And this is a smaller swirl. And rotating is a must with this. So I'm tracing, go into a big swirl. This is a bit of an aura and into that swirl. And on the other side, we've got our aura into a small swirl. And we kind of trace this and come back in. So we have our first four done. And like I said, with the actual tangle, there are just six on the inside instead of four. But I went four and then another layer out with four. So we have eight. So this is just my variation of it. All right, so now we're going to pick one of these green seed shapes or green rice shapes. And again, we're going to kind of trace over this, go to the right, and swirl in. And then I'm just going to come up from this line here, kind of or around that and go back into that swirl. On the other side, I'm going to come up from this, there's like a point in here. I'm going to aura around that seed shape, hop over to the other side, and swirl in, and then pick up. You can trace this, but then pick up on the other side into the little swirl. And again, we're doing the same for all of that. A little bit of tracing up into a nice big swirl, starting from this kind of valley in here. And then we have our little swirl, kind of trace that, hop on over, finish that one. Goes pretty quickly, but I would say it does require some concentration just because it's so swirly. But that's what I love about it. Kind of trace, hop on over, finish that out. And our last one, trace into our swirl. Kind of do a bit of an aura into the swirl. On the other side, we're doing an aura. Hop on over into a little swirl. And trace if you need to, hop on over to finish that little swirl. So you have something that looks like this. So you can turn this into whatever you would like. It's very star-like in a way, but it could also be very snowflake-like, or actually, it's kind of plant-like. These can be kind of like vines, so it has a very organic kind of look to it. You can, if you want, you could, for example, add little orbs into these arms here, or you could do a little bit of striping. It's totally up to you. I'm gonna leave it like that and just add some color to it, actually. So I'm going to start with the toss up between the gold and the silver, but I am just going to go ahead and add gold to this. I'm not doing a lot of shading because I'm working with metallics. So I'm basically at this point just coloring with my metallics. You might have colored pencils, or you might be adding something like orbs. But I am just really in the mood for metallics today, so that's what I'm doing. Let me know in the comments what you do, and especially if anyone turns this into a plant-like project, which would be really cool too. I'll have to revisit that. So I am just doing my original four kind of like large arms here with their little ones too in gold. So I have that in gold. And then I'm going to take my silver and do the other set of four, just starting with any of them. So very sparkly. So I do like these Uniball metallics. They're nice and smooth. But for any of these projects, you can really use whatever materials you have on hand. And I'll also have to revisit this by using just the black pen and maybe putting in some orbs in here instead, because I think that would look really cool too. You see how that looks. So that looks really nice and sparkly. I am, and if you wanted to, actually, you could add a little weight to these swirls. And I might do that with the metallics here, just to add a little bit of extra sparkle, because for the holidays, you can never have too much sparkle. I put a little bit of sparkle in here. I can do the same with the gold. So I'm going to add a little bit of love in there. This one was very swirly. Why don't I do that for all of them? Actually, and for the silver too. I kind of liked that. All right, that is cool. Now I'm going to I have a chalk pencil, but if you just have a regular pencil, that's fine. And I am just going to add a little bit of white in these kind of areas toward the center. Not a lot of shading. Also, I could have used sanguine if I wanted more of a contrast, but because I was thinking either snowflake or star, I'm going with the white. But this is where your creativity comes in, and you can use whatever you would like. So if you were picturing this more as vine-like, you could have you could make the seeds maybe like a gold color and then make these arms greenish. And I think that's going to be really cool. And I am just kind of now using my tortillon, which is just for the white chalk pencil. And I know because I've labeled it WH for the white chalk pencil, because you don't want to get those mixed up. I'm just smoothing out my chalk pencil so that it has more of a snowy look or maybe a celestial look if it's a star. I don't know. Tell me what you see. Is it more star-like or more snowflake-like? It could be either, or plant-like if that's what you see. All right, so I have something that looks like that. And then you can go back in and add a little bit of sparkle if you'd like to. Maybe I'll take the silver and just add a little bit of, this isn't totally necessary. Just add a few little sparkles in there. So you have a cross and an X. I'm just kind of randomly putting them in here and there, just to add a little bit more sparkle to my project. And then I could probably add a few gold ones. Let's rotate around. Is that sparkly enough? Got a tiny one there. Something like that. You can keep going on endlessly, adding little sparkles. I'm going to say that's about enough. And I'll rotate that around so you can kind of see the sparkle. So I'm going to call that done. I really like this. It's pretty. And like I said, this is a variation of Kadoo because we did four seed shapes and then four more, whereas the original is just six all in a circle there. So a little bit of a variation, but that's a lot of fun actually. And again, your creativity comes in play there with what you can do with that. You might even be able to take it out another layer. But am really happy with what we've done today and how cute that looks. And to me, it's more star-like. But it could easily be snowflake-like or plant-like. So lots of fun there. Let me know what you decided it to be, because I am curious now what you see. Um, but I think it's festive, and I love the way that these can swirl in like that. And again, your ends could be very different. So you can play around with that uh, and have fun with it. There's no right or wrong. It's just follow your heart and go with the flow and explore what you can do. All right. So let's finish filling out the back. And actually, I'm going to put my initials on here. And I'm just going to kind of, with my silver pen, I'm just going to float in my initials down here. Just like that, maybe as a sparkle. All right. So we have our 2025 Advent Tangles Day 3, and these are our impromptu tangles because I don't really have any plants. I like to put my name on here, and I always like to write in which tangle or tangles that I'm using. And today we focus on Cadoo. That's Cadooh by Ria Matheussen, CZT. So thank you, Ria. This is a very pretty one. Um, I'm actually very fond of it. So beautiful, 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 beautiful. Just like all of you, my beautiful tanglers. Thank you so much for tangling along with me, and I hope you're having a happy holiday. It's a very busy season, so remember to always make time for yourself. Just like we're tangling, which is good because we've got this time together. But maybe treat yourself to a cup of coffee or a candy cane or just something that makes you happy today. All right, thank you for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. I have no idea what we're going to be doing, but it'll be something fun and interesting. All right, see you then. Love you guys. Bye.